You gotta be stoic. You can't be frail. If you get on the track, you can't derail. If you stick around long enough,
you will surely be veiled.
What? Oh, like, why you not like him? Like, you don't know Musa is selling cocaine down the block. Like, you don't know Musa is selling a bag of weed. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing none of that.
Right.
You know, I'm just being regular. You just, whatever you expect out of me is not what you getting. But I'm not on the wrong path, right? See, imagine if the role was reversed. We started comparing our parents to other people's parents, right? Well, his parent did this for him. He provided that for him. He had a savings since he was 5. Like, if I started comparing, then it's not going to look good, right? Because then
that will go into your point number 2.
Yeah, right. They said Siddiqui Jabate just recently came to New York and performed. And I seen somebody on Instagram saying that, or I think Mo also told me that they give him $50K. If you got the money, fine. Just in our culture, people go to weddings or ceremonies and spend a lot of money. And then you literally hear your auntie on the phone asking somebody, can you loan me $500? I just saw you at the wedding throwing like $1,000. You went over there and spend your rent money on an artist.
And some people will put themselves in debt to flex.
Yeah. No,
like they will.
That's a fact.
It's not even theirs. Like they will buy. They will do the craziest things. You see now with social media and this culture that we live in. Like just to flex for what? For people's validation.
That's a fact.
So I think it's an ugly thing across cultures and communities.
To me, that success part, it really bothers me because you really don't know what's going on outside of what you just know, right? You just on the surface level you just see one thing, but on the deeper level it's completely different. You might say to scream your name, and then so you can show people that you throw a lot of money. Then 2 weeks later you're asking your son or your brother for $500 to help you cover the rest of the rent so you don't get evicted or at least don't look like a fool out here. But for validation, you go out there and spend your money.
Toxic.
Right? Just throw it, right?
Cut it out.
That's why every time I go to a ceremony, I be pissed.
What's my life?
You will surely be unveiled, Numso. What have you been? I don't even know what to say.
I was looking at Goku so much.
So much evil in this world, I sit back like, why bother? But get a different view every time that I call daughter. It's like Numi got the Uzi, man, she always spitting facts. She be dropping bombs, make all of them double back. Then the crime raises. It's something that they never gonna get that, but it's cool, let's sit back.
You gotta be stoic, you can't be frail. If you get on the track, you can't derail. If you stick around long enough,
you for sure be unveiled.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another Unveiled Mindset podcast episode, hosted by me, Dawda Kande, and my lovely wife, Numso Kaba.
Hello. Welcome to the Unveiled Mindset podcast, where we have enlightening and purposeful conversations that help to nurture growth and unveil the mind. Make sure you guys subscribe down below. As you guys know, we are on track to hitting 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. Come on, Unveiled fam.
Sure.
Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment down. Make sure you follow the Instagram. Let's be engaged. And if you like this episode, join the Unveiled fam.
And
join the community.
Put a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so
what are we talking about? What's the topic for the day?
I won't even sugarcoat it. So today's gonna be a little spicy again.
Okay.
So today the topic is the ugliest quality about our culture.
Okay.
So pretty much that's it. It's no cut the edges. So straight to the point. What do you think? What are some of the ugliest quality about our culture that you have come across?
I would say, because within every single culture and community, there's the good, there's the okay, we deal with it as a community, and there's the ugly that for the next generation you would probably choose to not pass on. And in that case, in my case, I would say so that I would not pass on. We kind of touched on this before and historically in the past, but the opportunity to stand on your boundaries. And I always, I'm not a broken record. It's something that I'm so passionate about, and something that is so important to me. And honestly, I think it's because I'm in a season right now in my life in which boundaries are just so important to me.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, I've gone that within the last 3 years. Like, it's something that I've actively worked on. It was part of my vision board, last year, right? Having set boundaries. And so for me, I think that culturally, a lot of times, boundaries are not respected, right? And that's not just in the African or Guinean community, and it's in a lot of communities, right? It's in a lot of Black communities, it's in a lot of minority communities, right? It's in a lot of communities in which there are certain expectations and obligations that you may have from not just your immediate family, but like extended family.
Yeah.
Thank God for me, I don't necessarily have those from like an extended family perspective, but nevertheless, there are a lot of people who are in that situation where they have these obligations that are put on top of them, and because of their culture, they feel like they can't say no.
Yeah.
They feel like they can't stand up for themselves, and stand up for what they believe in, for the fear of getting shunned by society.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, pride. Sometimes we tend to be very prideful, and tend to. It's all about the optics. It's all about, what's the community gonna say? Oh my goodness, you're not gonna be a doctor, engineer. What's the community gonna say about me? What's the village? What's blah blah blah? What are they gonna say about us?
Yeah.
Right. So it's that standing on your boundaries. I know I said a couple different things, but standing on your boundaries, because your boundaries will allow yourself to not only like protect your peace, but then also not fall prey to people's like validation.
Yeah. I'm gonna I have a few things that I want to touch on, and you can also go ahead and touch on it, and so we can expand a little bit, right? So to me, the ugliest quality, I have a couple, maybe a few, but I'm gonna run down to these, the first two main ones that stood out to me when I think about, some of the ugliest quality about our culture. First, I would say comparisons, right? Like, one, like, let's say your parent always compare you to this other, they'll compare their kid to somebody else's kid. They'll look at the other kid's success and compare that to their kid's success, and then instead of looking at themselves first, they will look at the kid like, this is your fault. Like, everything starts from home, from your dad, from your mom, from your community, from the village, from your surrounding, your environment. Everything that you have put in front of your kid, or everything that you try to teach your kid, right? They're gonna take that and apply it, and the environment also play a huge part. So they just blame it on the kid. It's your fault, whatever the case may be, and don't try to analyze it fully to see where it started from, right? So it's a domino effect. It starts from the top and to the bottom. That's one. Secondly, and then you can go ahead and give me your opinion. Secondly, it's the fact that they don't like to take accountability for their mistake. I'm talking about, like, especially parents, right? Like, if a kid is right, no, you're wrong. They hate being wrong. They hate being called out. So
would you say it's pridefulness?
Pride, and just pride. And also we have this, I don't want to say if it's a caste system. I don't think, no, it's not. But it's where it's like, if I'm older than you, whatever I say go, and whatever I say I'm right, I'm not wrong. Yeah. Because I'm older than you. Yeah, so
it's a dynamic. It's dynamic and like disciplinary, like very pretty much elderly, and then
So those are the two things that, to me, I feel like stood out to me the most. Those are some of the ugliest quality about our culture. What do you think about those two?
I agree. I think that the last one that you said, I think it's important to allow people to make decisions for themselves and to think for themselves. And I think that if you're in a society where, and not to say that this is absolutely everywhere, right, or everyone's family dynamic, etc., but there are people who experience this, if that, they can't stand up for what they believe in, or they can't say otherwise, right? Hey, the sky is red, so I can't say the sky. No, actually, it looks blue today. No, it doesn't look blue today. It's red. Why? Because I'm older than you and I've said so. Yeah. And when children sometimes grow up in kind of like that type of environment, I feel like that might like end up impacting them in that like they become these adults that just follow suit and follow everything that authority tells them. right? Rather than, making decisions for themselves and thinking for themselves critically, and then deciding for themselves based on that critical thought, even if it goes against the grain, and trusting in their own intelligence. And so even examples are here at school, since even when I was in third grade, like for the longest that I remember, critical thinking was encouraged, right? It's encouraged. What do you think about this? What's your opinion about this? If it's something that you disagree with, right? Why do you disagree with it? Obviously there's facts and, whatever, but let's say the teacher has a certain point of view on something.
Yeah.
Write an essay. They would even have, I remember a political science class where people, we would have debates and, we would have different viewpoints, right? And the teacher would encourage, okay, you disagree with my viewpoint, write a paper about it. Let me know exactly what you're thinking. Like they would encourage that. Yeah. And I think that that's important for creativity. The one thing that I would say about that though, however, that why I wouldn't 100% call it an evil thing or, something that's ugly is because that teaches us discipline. Right? We have a sense of discipline when it comes to our society, respecting our elders, like unlike a lot of countries in the West. You go to school here, you see students yelling at teachers, throwing burgers at teachers' heads and fighting teachers. Whereas back there, absolutely this idea of, the elder, like that gap, it amplifies the respect that's needed. So to a certain extent, the respect is so much that you can't say something other than, like, you can't criticize what I say. It doesn't maybe need to be to that level, but be to a level where there's still a genuine respect, because I think the society needs it.
In general, people don't really cross that line,
right? Which
is kind of cemented and embedded in our culture already, right? When I say that they know that they're wrong, right? And the kid might not be confronting them about it, but it's just, if they're just putting out the facts, no, this is what happened. No, be quiet, I'm talking. I don't think that's fair. That's ugly to me, right? Or it's like, it doesn't matter. And you clearly know when I leave, when I walk out of here, I would never talk back to you. When I walk out of here, I know that I'm right. You know that you're wrong, but you're not admitting to it that you're wrong.
Yeah, like accountability.
Because that kid also can carry that with him and do the same thing with his kids. Yeah. Right? It's just, to me, because one thing is a respect thing. You don't disrespect there's an approach, right? The approach needs to be respectful, right? But what I'm saying is, if they don't take accountability, what make you think that kid is not going to take the same thing and apply it to his life and not be accountable to certain situation where he knows that he's wrong?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And that's what happens.
Right? So that's what make it. But I do agree with the respect, and which is already there. But there's always, an anomaly. Somebody's going to go out and disrespect their elder. That's always there,
Right. So what were the two things? So there was that, and then
comparison,
what was the other one? Comparison.
That's the one.
So on the comparison, I think it's important to compare for the sake of, like, oh, I'm getting, like, this is motivating me. I'm getting motivation from this comparison, right? Like, I need to get myself together. It's important to be in places where you can compare and compete with other people, so that for advancement, and you guys are supporting each other, right? There's no ill intent. It's just for the betterment of everyone. Yeah. I think that's absolutely great. However, that's not necessarily what you're talking about in society of what happens. You're talking about oh, well, so-and-so's child did this, you need to do the same thing. I don't care if what you did is technically more. I don't care if that other person is doing other things behind the scene. It's just a sense of, I think it's gratification from community.
Community, yeah.
It's community gratification, and it's, I think, validation.
I think. Sorry to interject, but I think to a certain degree we all want validation, but it's to what extent?
To what extent? Yeah. No, I agree, and I think that putting that impact on people, especially growing up and stuff like that, those pressures, you're raising kids and raising people who will then continue to seek validations from communities, and even on things that may not even matter or things that may put them at a deficit. Right? But the thing is, this isn't even just like something that we've seen in, you know, our cultures. This is something that even here in the United States, right? Like you see, you know, rappers, they make it, right? And then they feel like, or, you know, that they need to go back to where they're from and like flex. You see people, as soon as they have a little bit, they need to flex. Yeah. They need to flex hard with the cars, watches, this and that. And some people will put themselves in debt to flex.
Yeah.
No, like they will,
that's a fact.
It's not even theirs. Like they will do the craziest things. You see now with social media and this culture that we live in, like just to flex. For what? For people's validation.
That's a fact.
So I think it's an ugly thing across cultures and communities.
To me, that success part, it really bothers me, because you really don't know what's going on outside of what you just know, right? You just on the surface level, you just see one thing, but on the deeper level, it's completely different. You might say, oh, like, why you not like him? Like, you don't know Musa is selling cocaine down the block. Like, you don't know Musa is selling a bag of weed. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing none of that. Right. You know, I'm just being regular. You just, you know, whatever you expect out of me is not what you getting. But I'm not on the wrong path, right? And you're comparing me to somebody that's just probably doing something completely worse. And another thing is, I thought about it. I say, imagine if the role was reversed. We started comparing our parents to other people's parents, right? Well, his parent did this for him. He provided that for him. He had a saving since he was 5. Like, you know, if I started comparing, then it's not going to look good, right? Because then
that will go into your point number 2.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. Exactly. Like then.
You're wrong.
You're wrong, or you're being disrespectful.
You are,
right? And
which that is
because, like, but and the thing you mentioned, because you know, it's the ugliest quality, which can be a broad topic, right? For example, like they said, Siddiqui Diabaté just recently came to New York and perform, and I seen somebody on Instagram saying that, or I think more also told me that they gave him $50K. You know, if you got the money, fine. You know, but we just know in our culture, people go to weddings or ceremonies and spend a lot of money. And then you literally hear your auntie on the phone asking somebody, can you loan me $500? I just saw you at the wedding throwing like $1,000. You went over there and spend your rent money on an artist to scream your name, and then so you can show people that you throw a lot of money. Then 2 weeks later, you're asking your son or your brother for $500 to help you cover the rest of the rent, so you don't get evicted, or at least don't look like a fool out here. But for validation, you go out there and spend your money.
Toxic,
right? Just throw it, right?
Cut it out.
That's why every time I go to a ceremony, I be picking up money. Even our own wedding, I was stepping on dollars. Like, bro, come on, man, I was stepping on. You know, so I was there. I'm like, yeah, take that. You feel me? I ain't gonna lie, but that's the truth. Like $50K, Siddiqui Diabaté, you give him $50K. Hey, I'm not mad at him. Get your money. Yeah. But whoever spent the money, they probably got money. You know. What
are you saying? Like, is that what they paid him to come and perform?
No, I believe, I wasn't there, but from what I heard, and what I saw, and even I supposed it was like, yo, $50K, that's crazy. I guess like he was performing and then they was throwing money at him.
People in general.
No, I think one person.
Oh,
like $50K. Okay. That's, you know how many down payment you can put on a house?
Maybe they got it. I don't know.
You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. If they got it, I'm not mad at the person who did. I'm just saying.
If they don't got it, their priorities.
And somebody's like, I think most is like, oh, you know, he got money, her husband got money, or whatever. Like, if they got it, they got it. You know, $50K probably is $1,000 to them, and it doesn't bother them. That's fine. Right. I'm just saying, in general, these type of things occur in our community. At ceremonies, at weddings, people go and spend their rent money. People go and spend their gas money. Like, so now, just put that in perspective. You go to these weddings and you spend all your money, right? Or spend a lot of money. Okay, and then you want to compare me to Joe Schmo or such and such. Now, you called your brother for $500 to cover you for rent. Imagine if I compare you to the other lady that don't spend $500. I'm like, yo, mom, look, you've been wasting your money, and we about to get evicted. Like, you're doing bad. You're making us look bad. You only throw money out there so people can be like, oh my God, look what she did, but you ain't got it. If you say that, it's a problem, but it's facts. You get what I'm saying? So comparison is one of the ugliest quality that I don't like. I really detest.
The one thing too about like comparison is and also full disclosure, like I'm so lucky and I'm so happy that like that's not something that I've experienced growing up in my family. And a lot of the things that we talk about, like we are saying from the greater community, right? So let's be very frank and clear, the greater community, not necessarily things that our immediate family, you know, we've experienced via our immediate family. But that's not unlike other cousins or whatever's experiences, right? And I think also because I grew up in a particular household that didn't do a lot of these things, I have like a zero tolerance for it, right? Versus I think if I had grown up with a lot of these things, I may have been more lenient towards even like the say no to people, right? And boundaries and stuff like that. It may have been a lot harder for me to stand on my boundaries and be like, I'm just going to do this without feeling bad. But the other thing that I want to say about comparison is, I think, what do they say? Comparison is not the root of evil, but it's the...
Yeah, I don't know the saying.
Something of jealousy or something like that. I'm going to look it up. But when you're comparing also, like, especially like you gave the example of somebody's continuously comparing their kids to this, right? You can trigger envy in that person, or anger into that person. Like that child can then start feeling like hatred or some sort of negative feeling towards the person you're constantly comparing them to. They might, you know, look at them like, oh, you know, my parents or my aunts or uncle or society or whatever is always comparing me to this person, but they do this, they do that. You might start like feeling negative energy towards them that wasn't there before.
Correct.
So we need to also be very careful when we're projecting these things. It may make other people envious. Right? I wish I had that. And then you know, ill intent, like it may make it's not a good thing.
No, I really agree. It's just, I mean, it's a learning process, you know. It's like when you're young, you don't really pay attention to these things, right? As you get older, I think it take a deep person to reflect.
I got it.
Right?
It's...
What is it?
Constantly comparing ourselves to others can harm our happiness. But basically what they say comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is Theodore Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy.
I mean, I can see that definitely, because you know they'll tell you like be you, and then they'll compare you to somebody else. So like I'm conflicted, I'm confused. Like you want me to be who I want to be, but at the same time you want me to be.
It's not good enough.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. So I think they have a metric. And they measure your success based on that metric, right? So, and I guess that's what it is. And to me, it's really, really sad. But the thing is, we can fix it, right? We can get better at it, right? That's the whole thing.
For the next
I was talking about the enhancement of the culture, not necessarily changing the core or principle base of the culture, but to kind of tweak things, right? To where, like, another thing, for example, like open communication is something that's not very common, right? You know, it's not prevalent in our culture, so that's something too. I wanna like sometimes sit down and have a conversation where it's not like it's like you're just giving me order, like I'm just like it's like I'm working for a company. Like, no, you're supposed to be our parents. You guys are supposed to be parents, not me working for a company. I shouldn't be taking order. I think I should be open and allowed to have conversation. And when I say open, allowed to have conversation, I'm not talking about these openness. I'm talking about have a sit down with your pops, like have a gentleman or gentleman conversation. Like,
what do you mean? Like,
for example, like I would want to ask my dad, like, for example, like let's say I do something wrong, right? Or let's say he's mad at me about something, right? It shouldn't be just he yelling. I'm like, okay, I think I should be able to express myself, why I did it. I want to know why you mad. I want to know what caused this issue. Okay, now from there, I would, okay, I know what caused the issue. I know why you mad, and I want to also let you know why I did it. And then there's three things that we can attack, right? And then we can break down each point to make me not just I'm afraid because he's gonna get mad, because you're probably gonna hide and do it. It should be like, I understand why he's mad. Oh, that makes sense to me why he's mad. I should change it. So then if let's say next time something also is about to happen, then I might be like, yo, I had a wonderful conversation with my pops, and it went well, and then I got help from that. So let me go back to, hey, I have this idea, or I want to do this, so I want to do that, and you relay the message to him, and he give you his opinion, and you respond to that, and then I feel like it's like more of a safe space.
Yeah.
Right. Even though I don't like using it. It's like corny, like safe space.
I don't think that's corny.
But I'm just saying, like, you know.
I don't think it's corny.
I think it was just good, right?
Yeah.
For men to talk, right? And, you know, you can come up with ideas, business plan, anything. I don't even think people really do that, though, you know, in our community, right? So open communication is not a big thing also. I think that's very important. I think we're very secluded, and kind of our feelings are kind of isolated when it comes to like our parents. You know, especially your fathers, mom too. It's just order. So that's another thing. Yeah. But
when you say isolated and secluded, your feelings, you mean like suppressed?
Yeah, like you suppress it, and also you like not talk about it. You kind of hide it.
Okay.
Because I think it's like a feeling of being weak.
Oh.
Right. It's like especially if the topic is something about you, something that's sensitive.
Yeah.
You really want to keep that to yourself. Not you want to, but not you should, but I'm saying in that moment, with that mentality, you would want to keep that to yourself. You don't want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I get it. So communication is really important, because like
I agree.
I wish I could have asked my dad a lot of stuff, and I think me and my dad had I think we would have had like their line of communication if we had more time to spend with each other. I truly believe that.
I think with age, definitely as well, because it's one thing when one is a child. If you're a child, there's but certain things we can talk about. Right. For the most part, I'm guiding you, I'm leading you, I'm being your parent, and I'm directing you in terms of what you can and what you cannot do. Not to say that I'm not going to communicate with you. Like we would definitely communicate, but it's at a different level. And then once you become an adult and you start like, you know, it hits you the way you start thinking about things, your choices. At that point, like your life is for your own. Like you know, you're no longer under like your parents' responsibility from like a, you know, raising a child standpoint. And so
I agree.
I think in that case, and being an adult also comes with like,
but you know what,
type of communication as well.
And the reason why I said that, like, because I didn't, you know, spend enough time with my dad, but even when I was like 8, 9, because my dad used to like talk a lot. Like when I say talk a lot, he used to have like debate with his friends and all of that. And I think that's why like I debate a lot, because as a youngin, I used to be in the living room. People used to come in, they're talking, and I'm not paying attention to the conversation. A lot of it was political and stuff like that, and just like moral ethics and stuff like that. And like I would hear him as a kid, but I'm not really paying attention to it because I'm a kid. But I just remember him just talking, having debates, and then like he would talk to us too. Even like my older brother was like, yo, my dad would sit you down and talk to you. Like, you know, Mukhtar, my cousin, was like, yo, even recorded conversation, like my dad would sit down and have a conversation back and forth. It's not like, hey, do this. Like he would like guide you. He would give you tools, advice. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I really wish I could have had. Yeah. And you know, so yeah, like I even told, like remember I told you, like when we were young, like he would go in the back of the house. We had this big blackboard. He would put problems on there, and then, you know, he would say whoever solve it, you know, he'd give you money and stuff like that. Or sometimes he just put. So, like that's what I'm saying. When you say affection, that's affection right there. You know. Yeah. So, but yeah, so open line of communication is something that we should at least make it like a thing in our community. Yeah. But yeah.
Agreed. I agree.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. The ugliest quality about our culture. Let us know what you think.
And it's important whatever community that you're from and whatever culture that you come from, it's important to, you know, take a step back and understand like what are the pros and cons. And for the cons, like what we just did, what are some things about the cons that are pros, right? Because there are things about the cons that are pros. Like the example that I gave with like, because of the authority, respect. As a result, there's strict respect. But then think about what are some things that I'll tweak a little bit for the next generation, right? Because you do have a multicultural experience and multi-generational experience, right? Multi-generational experience is multicultural because even if we weren't living in the West, even if we were living over there, the different generations, as generations go on, you adapt to the culture of like, it's globalization, right? Like everything is kind of meshing together. And so when I say meshing together, I don't mean like just cultures. I mean like in terms of you're getting outside, things that are happening on outside, you're seeing on the inside, visibility on things, because there's YouTube, TV, things like that. But start thinking about what are some things that I'll tweak a little bit for the next generation. And
just let us know if you agree, if you disagree, because even though we're talking about the ugliest qualities, so the things that we gave, we're talking about the pros specifically. There's some cons too. So don't just think we're just saying it's just one way, right? So just let us know if you agree or disagree. If you have other things that you feel like there could be part of this list, you can just put it in the comments and we can just have, a dialogue about it. But
sounds good.
As far as that, Unveiled Mindset, another one, we out. Peace.
Bye.
So much evil in this world, I sit back like, why bother? But get a different view every time that I call God. It's like Numi got the Uzi, man, she always speaking facts. She be dropping bombs, make all of them double back. And then the crime raises. It's something that ain't never gonna get that. But it's cool, let's sit back and chit chat. Unveiled Mindset.